Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight on the Daily Debate is Ambassador Medhat Meiligy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister and a member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight. Before the report, we have spoken about the International Court of Justice, about the ICC, the International Criminal Court, and what happened with the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, following the beginning of the war 2 or 3 years ago against Ukraine. On the other hand, there are double standards when it comes to be dealing with a country like Israel, for example. Do you think that this would lead us to be losing faith and to be losing confidence in these institutions and courts?
Well, definitely. I mean, as His Excellency President Sisi has said it today, that the international community is asking, what does it mean, those values that we live on, which are justice and fairness and all these values that humans believe in.
Yes.
And of course, everybody is losing faith in these things. But here I want to seize the opportunity actually to talk about something else, which is those Islamic and Arab countries, the narrative of those countries. We have to stop just having reactions towards what Israel is doing. I mean, we have to start having our own actions if we are really serious about helping the Palestinians. I mean, let's first decide if we really want to help them. I'm not talking here about Egypt, I'm talking about the Islamic and the Arab community.
But in which way we could be helping?
Well, first of all, I mean, we all hear about the exact figures and numbers and weapons that the Ukrainians are getting in order to defend themselves.
From the West and the United States.
From the West and from the other country. I mean, the majority of the country, I mean, in the last vote we had around 140 countries who are supporting the Palestinians. We have to help really the Palestinians by either to help them to build their country once again, or to help them to defend themselves. They have the right to have weapons to be able to defend themselves. This is not something we should be ashamed from. I'm not calling for escalation of the war. But if you are giving Ukrainian arms to defend themselves against the Russian aggression, then you have to give any country that is oppressed arms to be able to defend itself against the oppressor.
But don't you think that this will be leading, as you mentioned, to an escalation of the war in the region, especially after what happened in Lebanon with Hezbollah and Israel, with Iran as well and Israel?
Exactly, but the problem here is that because these are lonely countries who are doing this in the street and with the
So we need a block.
Yes, I mean, Iran was, never have admitted that it's helping the Palestinians with arms, even though it is or it isn't, I don't know. But at least they always denied that. But if we can do, all of us, all the countries involved, they can support the Palestinian, just like all the Western countries are supporting Ukraine, then the world community cannot be, or the Western community cannot be against us, because this is not a position of Iran or the position of this or that country in the Gulf or in North Africa or here or there. No, this is a position of the Arab and Islamic countries to help the Palestinians to defend themselves without having to be ashamed of what we are saying. And maybe this will be the weapon that Israel needs, which is to understand that there is a kind of balance, even in a minor way, so that it would stop its aggression. Why is Israel continuing? Because first it can, as we said before, and second because of the policy of impunity. I mean, the Palestinian cannot take any actions against the Israelis.
Yes.
But when Israel will feel that it can be consequences to what it will do, it will stop doing it, what it's doing. That's the narrative that I want us to know, to own. And we should not, I mean, even if we are just saying this as one of the means that we are going, I mean, we tried and we are still trying to enforce peace. But we never had anyone who is listening or trying to help us. I mean, since the Oslo Agreement, that is dead now, of course, as we all know, after the 7th of October, it's dead.
Yes.
But since that time, for 30 years, and in the West Bank, that doesn't have any Hamas influence. Did they get anything? On the contrary, they are weakening the Palestinian Authority more and more, and allowing its own people to disrespect it simply because it's not enabled to give them anything in order to see that peace, or the road to peace, will achieve the independence and the self-determination that they want. There is no autodetermination, there are no peace. Israel can go whenever it wants and take or kill or kidnap anyone it wants, and there is no impunity to that. Why is that? How do you think that the Palestinian Authority can gain its respect among its people? And on the other side, of course, there has been severe hits on Hamas now, and I believe not just Hamas, and the Jihad and all the resistance groups. And we are going to need some time for these for the new generations to come up, because once again, as we said before, and we will repeat it, as long as there is an occupation, there will be a resistance. And as long as there is a military occupation, there will be a violent and military reactions towards that, and acts of violence from the resistance. This is ABC international rights. And Israel doesn't want to respect that, and it has to understand that it cannot go unpunished for an eternity. This cannot keep going on. And the world have seen this, and the world is not tolerating, doesn't want to tolerate it anymore. But the most important thing is now to stop this genocide as soon as possible, to spare Palestinian lives, and then to try to feed them and to enter the humanitarian aid, and step by step maybe we'll reach somewhere. But unfortunately, the way I see it with the current government in Israel, I don't see this happening anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yes, the genocide in Palestine, but we also see an aggression by the Israeli side and the Israeli occupation forces against Lebanon, which takes us to another file. As President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi mentioned today, that Egypt is supporting Lebanon, the Lebanese institutions, the Lebanese army, and the Lebanese people, even with the absence of a consensual president. How do you see the Lebanese file, and of course the escalation that has happened in the region by Israel attacking Lebanon once again?
Well, you mentioned a very important point, not just about Lebanon, but about the position of Israel when it doesn't find in front of it a unified institution. And this is what happened in Palestine because of the Palestinian Authority on one hand and the resistance on another hand, and the seas of Gaza here and the West Bank here. It actually concretized more and more the idea of two entities within Palestine.
Yes.
And that's why Egypt recently have tried to host a meeting between the leaders of both entities in order to unify the Palestinian voice. Has always, I mean, every time you talk about any politician from the West, he tells you, but Hamas have always vowed to destroy Israel and this and that. I think we have to have one of the narrative that we have to do, that we are ready to let Israel live in the 1967 borders. It will let us live in our 1967 borders. This is a very important thing, because this will actually answer to many demands from the Western community, that the Palestinian who wants to destroy or the total destruction of Israel, we can demilitarize them. We can take this weapon from their hands once we say that we are not going to destroy Israel, we just want our border. One more thing. Yes. And I believe that this is the most important thing that we have to request now. What are the Israeli borders that we are talking about? Did the Palestinians really attack Israel on the 7th of October? Was this Israeli land, or was it a Palestinian land? Because according to the international law, any act of violence against an occupier inside your land cannot be called a terrorist attack. So in order to do so, Israel has to declare where it is its official borders. Without that, then the Palestinians did not commit any act of terrorism, because they were attacking within their own land. And if Israel does not, I mean, we have to pressure for this. I mean, it's the only country in the world who is asking for self-defense without explaining where are its borders exactly, from which point to which point. They annexed the Golan Heights, which is illegal. They annexed the Sheba farms in Lebanon. They annexed parts of West Bank. They are planning to annex parts of northern Gaza, as we've seen. They are trying to cleanse the population from there in order to construct new settlements maybe in this area and so on. So the idea, if you do not declare your land borders, then we are entitled to do any act of self-defense within the whole land of Palestine, because there is no definition of the borders of Israel. Israel has to define its borders so that we can understand where it's legal and where it is illegal for the Palestinians to defend themselves. I think this is a very important point. This is one of the narratives that I told you about that we have to look for. And without this, then we will always be a nation. I'm not talking here about Egypt once again, I'm talking about the whole Arab and Islamic world. We're going to be nations of reactions and not about proaction. And we need now proaction, because Israel have been leading in the proaction for a long time. And now it's about time for us to do our job, about our homework, in order to establish a free Palestine.
Yes, Ambassador Medhat Meiligy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister and the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.